So somehow, some generation must realize there shall be no more death. I mean, are we liars, or do we have double-minded people are unstable in all his ways? We need to get stable, church. And he says, when this happened, now remember, this is the revelation of Jesus Christ, the apocalypse. Not the destruction, the revelation. I will wipe away all tears from their eyes. There shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things are passed away. Jesus said, if you eat my flesh, and if you drink my blood, talking about the communion, you shall not taste death. In other words, if we have the communion week after week, maybe month after month, it is saying, I shall not die. I shall not die. But nobody preached it. So Romans 10 says, how can they believe if they don't hear? How can they hear if nobody preach? As it is written, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word. So if somebody keep on preaching, we're all going to heaven. That's why people still die and go to heaven. But if somebody starts preaching, listen, the word of God says, there shall be no more death. Jesus says, the Bible, Hebrews chapter 2 says, he destroyed him that hath power over death, that is the devil. And he delivered them who all their lifetime were bound in bondage through fear of death. 2 Timothy 1 verse 10, Jesus Christ brought to light life and immortality. So somehow, some generation must realize there shall be no more death. 1 Corinthians 15 says, we shall not all die, because death is the last enemy to conquer. And he said to Jesus, sit on my right hand till all your enemies be made your footstool. So there's not a Jesus coming before death is destroyed by the church, by our preaching, by our confession, because death and life is in the power of the tongue. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21, and he that uses it shall bear the fruit thereof. Deuteronomy 30, the commandment, not the law, the commandment I give you today is not difficult to keep. It's not in heaven that you should say who should go to heaven to bring it down. It's not down in the abyss that you should say who should bring it up. But it's in your mouth to speak it. Okay, Romans chapter 10, Paul repeats it. He says, the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise, saying not in your heart who shall ascend to heaven and bring Christ down, or who shall ascend down to the abyss to bring Christ up. But what does it say? The word of faith is in our mouths and in our hearts to speak it. How shall they speak if they not sent? And how can people hear if there's no preacher? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of him that brings these news. So look at my feet.